everyone. Hi. Welcome back to day 2 of this Adobe and Behance live stream. I'm your host, Fabiola Lara. Today on the stream, we're joined once again by the talented graphic designer and lettering artist, Alanna Flowers. We're so excited to have you back here, Alanna. How are you feeling about day 2?
I'm really excited for day 2. Day 1 was so much fun, and I'm just like super ready to jump in and see what
so
everyone's
ready.
talking about today. Yeah.
I'm so amped. All right. So today, Alanna is going to be showing us her process for designing custom cards using Adobe Fresco, including some motion graphics. So stick around to learn all of her Fresco tips and tricks. Now, before we get started, in case you missed the show before ours, be sure to check out the replays. Plus, join our newest addition to the Adobe Live lineup, our Creative Cloud Express streams where you can check out how to navigate the easy-to-use app. This week, the host will be covering creating content for Valentine's Day at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Finally, be sure to check out the first week of Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with Sam Peterson every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Tune in and challenge yourself with a new prompt each day. Now, before we get into the good stuff with Alanna, if you're joining us from YouTube, go ahead and jump over to Behance by heading to behance.net/Adobe Live. You'll get the most interactive experience during this live stream on Behance. It's where I can actually see your questions from the chat. So come hang out with us while we learn some pro tips from Alanna. And remember, you can watch the live streams even when we're offline. So bookmark this page. That way you can come back to it and never miss out on these tips from Alanna. All right, now I want to check out the chat and see who's back here from yesterday. We have some new faces. Anika's in here. Umacorn, I think he's back from yesterday. So good to see you guys.
Awesome.
All right, Alanna, I think it's time to get into all the goodness for day 2. Can you give us an update on what we're up to today?
Yeah, so yesterday we did a still Valentine's Day card looking for something that would be ready for print so that you could print it out and give it to a friend, a family member. It was very generalized, just love and affection. So today we're going to get into like motion and a little bit of animation. So just like really quickly to give people just like a quick little sneak peek of what we might be able to expect today. I referenced this project yesterday, but I made this in part using Adobe Fresco's motion features. So this was something that I used to create actually a still card, which you can see at the bottom here, but then I ended up animating it as well in Adobe Fresco. So it's very versatile as a program. And trust me, by no means am I like some animation wizard or expert. It's actually very approachable, and hopefully some of the things that I share with you guys today will actually be able to like help you guys start out and maybe animate some of your own stuff.
Yes, this is incredible. I feel like this is so next level to be doing all of this with the iPad. I am so pumped for what you're about to show us. I think if you were here yesterday, you saw how Alanna like blew all of our minds with all of the Fresco tools she introduced us to. Today, she's showing us the motion graphic side of it. So be prepared. I actually love, Alanna, that this is like if you missed yesterday's stream, you can catch it in the replay. But we're starting a whole new card today, right?
Exactly. So today we're going to be doing a birthday card because actually today is my mom's birthday. So a little shout out to her.
Shout out to Alanna's mom.
Happy birthday. So yes, we're going to be doing a whole new card design today. And it's actually great because if you missed out on day 1, I'm going to be doing still like going through the lettering process. So it's not going to be as in depth, but we're still going to be able to see that. So you'll be able to catch some of those same tips of my process as I go through like the lettering portion, which will always be a part of my work. So
perfect. So now everyone's coming along on this new little journey, catching up on yesterday and learning so much more. I am amped.
Yes, I'm excited. So,
are we ready to go into the project?
Yeah, if everyone's ready in the chat, I'm ready.
I think everyone in the chat is ready to go into iPad on Fresco. I love it.
Gosh, okay, let's go. All right. So, day 2.
Here we go.
Okay, so like I said, this is going to be an e-card in the end. So today's format is a little bit different than yesterday. Yesterday, we did a 5x7-inch card, which is like very standard greeting card size. Today, I have, what is this? Let me just double check. A 600 by 450 pixel document open.
Perfect.
So this is like good for like, it's like small enough to like email. You can save it as a GIF, an MP4, whole bit. So should be.
Do you
like
know the
flexible.
DPI on that? I feel like all of our chat friends were really interested in that yesterday.
Oh yes. So if I go into my little size setting, so I have this set to 300 because I think I mentioned it yesterday. I'm like, I don't mess with the low resolutions. I keep it high. I keep it at 300.
Perfect. There you go. That's pro tip number 1. Just work at 300. You can always export it lower.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, I can always go back. Exactly. So that's just my own personal preference.
Yes, for sure. I agree with that. I'm in the same boat. I'm always doing stuff at higher resolutions.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So yesterday we went through the whole like thumbnail process and all of that. Today I've done just like a little bit of work. So I'm just turning on this layer. This is all I have. This is where we're starting. So let's imagine that I've gone through a bunch of iterations in my mind of like, oh, what are the compositions and things that I could do? And this is my scrappy thumbnail sketch.
This is the selection. Yes.
This is the selection.
Yesterday you showed us 3 thumbnails and kind of her thumbnailing process. Today, because we're getting into a lot more on the other end. So
exactly.
Exactly.
So I want to be able to show everyone the lettering side, but also really focus on that motion. So, okay. So it's not beautiful yet. We're going to get there. So
I love the message.
Yeah. It's just like, happy birthday. And I could have squeezed in the word mom in there, but it's fine. You could use, it'll be multi-purpose for anyone that you want to design the card for. So, okay. So I've got my thumbnail sketch. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm just going to lower this opacity. So I'm just opening my layer properties. I'm just going to slide that down a little bit. Perfect. Because I want to be able to create a more refined sketch on top of this. So lower my DPI, and I'm just gonna tap a new layer. And, just to keep myself safe, lock this layer so I don't do anything by accident.
Protecting yourself from yourself. Yes,
exactly. I'm just like, I'm not gonna touch it. So to start, I'm gonna go straight to the corner here where my drawing aids are. I'm just gonna tap that ruler.
My favorite new tool. If you were here yesterday, you know how everyone lost their minds in the chat over the ruler tool, and here we meet it again. If you've used this tool before, why don't you drop a little emoji of a ruler? That way we can see how many people have already started playing with this and who's kind of new to it. I'm totally new. But
yeah, right. Oh my gosh, the ruler like saves me every time. And I'm also gonna just throw on my grid really quick. Just toggle that on. Mine is kind of light. Let me darken it a little bit for you guys.
Yeah,
so that'll also just give
there.
Me extra security of everything is vertical and horizontal where it needs to be. So I'm just going to dive right in. So.
Oh, yes. We're already seeing in the chat, Anika, Bliss, they've used the ruler tool. Laura.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes. Amazing.
I think it's like the new tool that I'm going to live by.
I mean, it's like so simple, but it's like without it, it's like, how would I really create a super straight line?
Yeah. Without it, you're better off just, working with an old fashioned ruler.
Right.
If you don't have it.
Exactly. And you'll just be really sad, I guess.
Just give up.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. I love to be able to see this. Setting up your own guides. Do you ever use like the pre-made guides? Isn't that a thing? I don't know if I'm a little out of it there.
There are some configurations, like there's some shapes that you can use that are like kind of like typographic guidelines. If I actually jump in here, there's actually under the typographic category here, there's like a little pre-configured like composition thing.
Yeah.
If you guys ever wanted to be like, oh, I have no idea where to start, that's actually like a really nice little tool, and you could use it the same way. So like just drop it into your canvas, lower the opacity, and create your lettering on top of that if you'd like.
That is super cool, you guys. If you're new to hand lettering, that is a really good way to start off. Right there under the shapes panel. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I had no idea that was there.
When I discovered this, I like lost my mind. I was just like, and they have like little pre-made flourishes in here. Like totally. If you really are starting from 0, it can like just like add that little spark in your mind of just like, oh, this is like kind of what this could look like.
Just get a sense of it. Yeah. Because then once you start adding those elements, you can then tweak them yourself, as you need. But that's definitely an amazing starting point.
Mm-hmm. It might help.
Fresco, they've thought of it all over there.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, we don't even really have to do that much work. It's
For sure.
amazing.
Hey, Paloma. Hey, for day 2. I see you in the chat there.
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Shouting people out.
Oh, I love a good chat shout out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Day 2.
Okay. So here now you are. Tell us what you're doing here.
So I've created my baseline and my cap line for both words, but now I'm creating an angle line so that all of my script letters will be leaning at the correct and consistent angle.
Yes, we were mentioning this yesterday. Just like by having those consistent angles, it starts to look so much more cohesive and put together.
Exactly. Just like any kind of help that you can give yourself, it'll just make the overall feel of the piece look a lot tighter. So we're here for it.
I can't wait to see. I know yesterday I loved all the loops you were making and all the flourishes. And I feel like that birthday, I can't wait till we get to that birthday.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm just like, I guess if anyone was here for day 1 or if you caught the replay, you saw that I did like a little bit of style mixing. And I think I kind of like to keep that a part of my repertoire, I guess, when I'm creating lettering. It's just like, it doesn't all have to be the same style. It can add a lot of, been interesting and dynamics to your work. So feel free to mix it up. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. And it just adds like having that contrast always adds interest.
Exactly. Right. It's just like it sort of grabs you visually.
Mm-hmm.
So here, similar to what we've seen before from yesterday, but just as a little recap, I'm just isolating this P because it's going to repeat. There's no reason to draw it again. I'm just going to isolate it, copy it.
Working smart every step of the way.
It's just like, you guys are going to see this happen a lot today.
And then you merged it back down.
Exactly. And then I just merged it down. So anytime you have like another layer on top of another one, you can just tap it and then that merge down option will appear. So if you want it to be back on the same layer with all of its friends.
Yes, that way at least you can keep it a little tidy in the beginning, since you know this isn't going to be the final sketch layer or final layer. Sorry.
Exactly. We're just trying to refine our letters because we need a stronger foundation for our final letter, our final lettering. So
how many like sketches, how many layers do you think, like iterations of the type do you think you go through before you get to like that final layer that you actually start working on?
Oh, interesting.
Because yesterday was like about 3, I think we did, but I know we were on a time crunch.
I think it can depend definitely on the complexity of the piece. So if it's like, yeah, maybe there's the final lettering, but maybe there are extra embellishments on that lettering. So it's like, maybe I'm adding extra little decorative elements or things within the letters that should probably be separated from the base layer. So I think it definitely depends on the complexity. So the layer count could get high, but it's okay. Fresco has unlimited layers. So
yeah, that is a big advantage of Fresco. If you're working on your iPad, is that Fresco has unlimited layers. Yes. So you can really get as organized as you need to be. You don't have to start merging layers very early on just to save yourself that layer space. You know what I mean, Alanna?
Absolutely. So please. It makes me shudder. Just like the last thing you want to think about is running out of layers. Like, who has time to think about that? Like, the creating is hard enough. Just like,
it's so true.
Give me those layers.
And then you have like different saved versions because you're like scared of the layers, of losing layers.
Oh, of course.
We don't want to do that. We don't have to do that here on Fresco.
No, we're good. We're secure.
That bee, I feel like, came out of nowhere.
Oh,
and
yeah, it's okay.
And it looks beautiful.
Thanks. B is such a fun letter. I like doing Bs, especially script Bs, but even sans serif and like other styles of B are very interesting because they're kind of tricky. They have a lot of secrets within them. It's kind of interesting.
I can see that. There's a lot of curves happening and the balance of the curves to make sure it looks like a proportionate B.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what it's about.
I've never noticed the beauty of a bee before until today. I'm so glad that I'm here to witness the beauty of the bee.
Oh yeah. Did you not realize this is a lettering appreciation stream?
Definitely. I think yesterday we were talking about our favorite letters. I might have to switch from F to B.
Well, it's okay. Your name still has a B in it.
It still has a B, so it's still valid. Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. It works.
I can remain a narcissist with my love for letters that are only in my name.
That's so funny.
Okay. I love to see you cut and duplicate.
Yeah, I'm just like anticipating needing that same oval shape for the A and the D. So I'm
yeah,
just like,
for those who weren't here yesterday, yeah, she Alana tends to just duplicate the base form of her letter and uses it again for the next letter, like she's doing here.
yeah, it saves you so much time. It's like one of the great advantages of working digitally. I guess the analog equivalent would be using tracing paper or something like that. Just like, okay, I have a letter and I'm just going to shift my tracing paper and just trace over it and use it again. This is just a different idea of that.
Yeah, it's the 2022 version of tracing paper.
Absolutely.
Did you used to use tracing paper as a kid? I had so much fun with tracing paper.
Oh my gosh. I pretty much have loved art and creativity since I was young. So definitely was always like deep in a crayon box or using something to just scribble with.
Do you have like a memory of something you used to draw or do all like, I feel like kids get obsessive and I feel like there's always one thing that you probably drew a lot. Had a phase.
I guess there was like always like the animal phase, I think, just like animals or like houses, oddly enough, just like square, triangle, roof, and then windows.
Yes, I love that.
Just
like over and over, just drawing houses.
Exactly. Just like, well, this is pretty basic.
Improving a little bit every time.
Exactly. See how many styles you can draw.
Definitely. I used to draw SpongeBob over and over, especially then when I got the tracing paper. It was like,
ooh,
I could trace everyone from that world.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Okay, this is all right. So explain to the viewers why you made this decision here to, instead of connect the R to the T, have it have a flourish.
You know, honestly, I think it's sort of like a personal preference because it's like, I think about it, like if I undo this really quickly, it's like, okay, that's nice. Like,
yeah.
And we'll be adding more elements. Like we're going to be animating. So there's going to be illustrations around this, but at least for the moment, this like negative space really is like more on that side, like on the left side. So this like, in my mind, I'm like adding a little bit more visual balance by adding a little flourish, also because it's fun.
Totally. Oh yeah, this is a great question from Wade. What brush are you using right now?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I am using just the pencil brush, which I love so much that it is favorited.
It's a classic. You can't go wrong.
It feels great. Like the texture you get from it is like insane. Like I can't believe these pixel brush selections, like the texture and just the feel of these are insane. So I'm like, sometimes all I need is the pencil brush.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not, what is it that saying? If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly. I'm just
somebody knows it better than I do, but you get the idea. We're all on the same page here.
That's so funny.
We love it. I love those pixel brushes. They can really provide so much character, and they're so like easy to start using in Fresco too.
No, absolutely.
Ooh.
I'm actually kind of curious now that we're talking about brushes. I'm wondering if anyone's ever like made their own brushes, because I'm like in awe of people who are like, buy my brush pack. And I'm just like, you made your own brushes.
I know, that's like my dream is to get there one day.
Yeah, right.
But I thought you had some tutorials on your YouTube channel about brush making.
Now I do have a brush making tutorial on my YouTube channel. Yes, on how you can create your own brushes using Fresco and Capture. But it's like, you know, I can create something that I feel like looks like kind of wonky, but it's just like they create like a whole selection of brushes. Like I've made like one or two of my own, but like creating like a whole collection of brushes is like something that it's like,
yeah, and really like fine tuning them and
exactly.
and perfecting them for other people to use. Like I can make a brush for myself, but it's a whole other thing to then hand it off to someone.
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm just like, you really have to think about like the experience of the user. So it's just like, well, it's like my preference, but it's just like, well, if you want other people to enjoy using your brushes too, there's more considerations to make. So
totally. And all those settings and stuff.
Oh no, exactly. So I'm just like, shout out to everyone out there making their own brushes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch your tutorial, and I'm sure I can get there.
Oh yeah, Capture is so much fun. It's such a versatile app. So anyone who hasn't used Capture yet, take a look at it
I
because
love Capture for collecting inspiration.
mm-hmm.
It's the best, and for also identifying type and letters and stuff out in the world. That's like one of my favorite things to do. If you haven't checked out Adobe Capture, you got to go check it out. It's a really fun way to collect inspiration on the go. And like Alanna says, I guess you can start making a brush on it.
Yeah, you can just like create, you could either use a photo asset and create a brush from it, or you could even just like start a very small like pattern swatch in Fresco, save it, and then open it in Capture and create a brush from that. There's a bunch of different
Amazing.
options, but yeah, it's pretty versatile. So
Ooh, I love this editing that's happening right now here with
oh
this.
yeah.
Is this called a loop, a curve? Is it still called a flourish? Because it's part of
Yeah,
the.
yeah, we're just flourishing this off of the stem of the H going around. When I first drew it, I'll go back a little bit. When I first drew it, it looked a little too high to be the
Got it.
crossbar of the T because I'm trying to make it sort of dual function right now. So it's
Yeah.
like it's looping off the H, but I also want it to be the crossbar of the T because I'm not going to put an extra line down there. I could,
Yeah.
but I'm choosing not to.
Yeah.
So
So we're fixing it so that it meets those needs.
yeah, I'm just gonna doing a little bit more refining for that, but it's no biggie, and it's great because I'm doing this specific portion on a separate layer. So as I'm erasing, I'm not also erasing my letters because I'm just like, this part is taking a few more iterations. So I'm just giving myself a little bit more lenience with that and separating those.
Yes, I hadn't even noticed that. That's a good call out. That she's working on a whole other separate layer for this piece of the H.
Yeah, I'm like, usually I'll do that with the flourishes. It's like, it's okay. Like if I'm taking like a second to figure it out, it's
sure.
A lot less pressure to not have it on the same layer as everything else.
Yeah.
And then
decrease the stress in the workflow, please.
Yeah,
no
right?
need to add stress to yourself. Imagine if you're just like, I'm only going to work in one layer the whole time. It's like,
impossible.
How unnecessary.
Impossible.
Oh, we have here that. Bliss says that she's used Adobe Capture before to create a brush. So that's cool. I'm so glad you guys are using that feature.
Very cool. Yeah, I want to get into that more.
Yes. Alanna, I know that you've been working on your YouTube channel and you hit, was it 500 subs this past year?
Oh yeah, we hit 500 subs at the beginning of this month, I guess it's February now, so I hit 500 at the beginning of January. Yeah,
that's amazing. Congratulations. How's your experience been with sharing tutorials on YouTube?
Oh my gosh, it's been so much fun. I really just love sharing what I know and things that I learn with people. So I'm very much into the digital art scene. So doing like Fresco tutorials, Illustrator tutorials, and then also giving, insight into lettering tutorials and just like a little bit more background about like being a freelancer and
the career side of it all.
Exactly.
Aside from the technical, artistic side of it. Oh, I love that. Exactly. I'm so glad that you're doing that because I feel like everyone's always so curious and no one really knows, like when you're a lettering artist, people may not exactly know what that means as a career. And every time you share a video, it's just like enlightening people.
No, yeah, it's been so great. I actually I saw that you attended Creator Camp, I think, some point last year. So when they opened it up, for everyone, I joined to help me get better at my video editing.
Yes, video editing is a beast.
Yes,
I love it.
Like, I need to get on Fabiola's level with the editing because I'm like, oh man, that's like
trust me, we need to be going on somebody else's level. I mean, I'm a newbie, but Creator Camp has really helped me out a lot, as I'm sure it did for you too.
Mm-hmm. It was so much fun, and I met other lettering artists in there too. I was just like sharing my my stuff, and they're just like, oh, I do lettering too, and they had channels too, so it was kind of fun.
It's a beautiful community.
Exactly, it's people everywhere.
I feel like the minute that you realize there's other people also trying to do similar stuff to you, just helps you kind of stay motivated, and that's like half the battle.
Absolutely.
With content creation.
Absolutely. It's just like just keeping going and just keeping the content fresh, not just for your audience, but for yourself, because, you know, you're supposed to have fun too. Like, it's not supposed to be like
a chore.
You know? Exactly, right. Do it for the enjoyment of it as well. So
for sure. Yeah. Go check out Alanna's YouTube channel if you haven't already.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have everyone join, and I post video content every week, so it'll be lots of fun.
Yes. Oh, Paloma, you watched my video editing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us today, here with Alanna.
Shout out to Paloma. Woo.
All right, where are we at?
Okay, so feel pretty good about this point of the refined sketch phase. Feels very nice, very balanced. So we are going to start another layer on top of this.
Nice.
with our more final brush. So
okay,
we're not gonna sadly.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about these brushes. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna say bye to a little bit of this texture, sadly, but it's okay because we're gonna go for a different look. So I'm gonna switch from my pencil brush, and I'm going to switch to my comics letterer brush, which is like my go-to.
Amazing.
Under the lettering category, if anyone's curious. Also another one of my personal favorite brushes under this category is the small chisel brush. Oh, beautiful.
Let's see it.
If you haven't tried it, oh my gosh, I love it. I can't believe, well, I don't really know much about like advanced brush creation technology or such, but like,
oh wow, yeah,
like look at all of that texture in there.
The texture and the like shading that it naturally has.
Exactly.
The pressure sensitivity
in a single pass. And just like, you get so much personality. So I did a whole tutorial on ribbon lettering because I think it's great for that, because it just has so many natural characteristics for it. So I'm like, that is beautiful. So
yeah, that's incredible.
Try the
that was the small chisel brush from the lettering tab lettering group.
Yes. Amazing. Love it.
But we're using for today the comics letterer.
The comics letterer brush.
Show us a little preview of that so people can see
how
that brush moves.
So this is, well, let me like increase my point size a little bit so you can see a little bit more. So
there
like,
we
go.
Okay.
Really opaque, really nice, like organic feel.
Yeah, because nice at the end. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like really blunt and sharp at the end. So you get like a nice feel, and you can still give it a lot of personality. So
it has like a subtle weight variety to it too. Like that way it feels handmade as opposed to just cold and
yeah, right. It's just like, geez, it's called hand lettering. So it's like, let's not remove the handmade feel from it completely.
Yeah. We can work on an iPad, but at least try to incorporate some of that handmade feel.
No, absolutely. So let me see what point size feels good. Oh, that actually might be okay. 14.
Perfect. Oh, this is a fun fact here from the chat from Shauna.
Ooh.
Shauna says that about the pencil brush in Fresco, every stroke is different. Renee told us about that a while back, that it was programmed that way. So that's amazing. That
is so cool.
It like hurts my mind. You know, like when you can't comprehend something, that's how it feels. Like it's still processing in my head, that statement. I'll be thinking about that tonight.
I mean, I need to have a conversation with the brush creators, engineers. Like I need to get to talk to Kyle T. Webster, who makes like amazing brushes for Fresco and everything, because I'm just like, how does your brain work?
Yeah.
And what's
it's
the technology?
Level.
Exactly.
I feel like,
amazing.
It has to be like the way engineers think or something. Like you have to like piece it together differently.
It definitely must be two, maybe like left brain, right brain coming together kind of idea.
I also think, Alanna, like in the same way that you already know how to like assemble a lettering piece, they already know how to assemble a brush and all the elements they need. Like, because I'm sure with adding this motion layer, you also have to think about the composition a little bit differently.
It's true.
Don't you think?
No, you're absolutely right. And I'm actually glad you mentioned that in terms of like the way your mind is thinking, depending on the final execution of the piece. We'll definitely get into that as we go further, because definitely have to do a lot of pre-thought and like thinking about like, okay, how do I want this to move? How do I want this to behave? So that the mindset is definitely a big part of it for sure.
Here we go with the buttery bee.
The buttery bee, the big buttery bee.
You just bust those out like no problem. It's incredible to see.
I'm telling you, it's my friend, the smoothing tool from yesterday. It's on
also
100.
like, are you a professional? No doubt. Because look, I could not do that bee. No, I'd be here all day. It would be like top heavy or something.
No, it's great because also I think it's also because, well, we were talking about yesterday in the stream, doing cursive as a kid in school, but also when I first started lettering, I actually did a lot of brush pen calligraphy. So that was a big part of being able to understand like how would a script letter look if it was created using a calligraphy brush or a pen. So understanding like the weight distributions and like kind of how the flow of certain lines is supposed to look or looks the most natural. Doing that was like a great intro for me to lettering and sort of getting a better sense of like how letters look.
Yeah. Would you say that starting with traditional tools is, if you're just getting started, maybe there's a benefit to starting off with traditional tools? Or if you're just getting started with lettering, what do you think is the best way to go about it? Digital or traditional? I know, I mean, obviously for final pieces, this is amazing.
No, yeah, it's I didn't have the option of using the iPad when I first started my lettering journey.
The reality,
but I'm really grateful for that because I now have the benefit of being able to do this analog as well as digital. It'll take longer analog, of course, but you can use your lettering in different ways if you can produce, your letters using traditional materials. You have greater range and flexibility of how you can, if you choose to, monetize or like do live events or something where you might not have access to digital materials. I know a lot of people who do like, those like customizations in stores or something, like they'll add names, and stuff like that. So that would be an example, I think, of where it'd be really beneficial to have a traditional background to start.
Yeah, I guess it can never hurt to master something traditionally before you move into, the Adobe apps where you can really polish it up for, say, client work or digital pieces.
No, exactly. I'm definitely a traditionalist at heart, but for the sake of efficiency and a lot of client projects.
For the sake of your career and where we are in the world, I do feel like I don't see it as much now, but I feel like earlier on Instagram, brush lettering was like super popular. I felt like there was a moment where I saw it everywhere.
Yes.
Do you agree with that? Or, that's coming from me, someone who's not spent so much time in the lettering world or in the lettering community.
No, definitely. I totally agree. When I first started out, like even before I was doing it myself, I was just drawn to that kind of medium, I think. So everyone was using brush pens, everybody. And it was so amazing, the kind of stuff that people were able to produce just with like, a single brush pen or whatever, or even people would just like use pencil and that's it. And their pencil sketches were like on point, crispy, like really good. And then Procreate and everything took over. So
yes. Now we have Fresco, unlimited layers.
Yeah, right.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
I love I think if you're just now tuning into this live stream, we're here with lettering artist and graphic designer Alanna Flowers, and she's working on Adobe Fresco on the iPad. So what you're witnessing right now is all powered by iPad on Adobe Fresco. So yeah, if you're tuning in with us just now, joining us, go ahead and tap over to Behance, come over to the Behance site so that we can chat and we can all talk and interact with each other, because if you're leaving comments over on YouTube, I can't see them. So come over to behance.net/Adobe Live and ask away, because we have Alanna here and she's ready to answer your lettering questions and talk about her process.
Yeah, join us. The chat is so much fun. I love it.
I love the chat. It keeps me alive. You guys are powering this live stream right now.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah, check out Alanna's YouTube channel. Ellie says that this stream has so much insightful nuggets of wisdom. I agree. And thank you. And this is all courtesy of Alanna's magical lettering brain.
Oh my, I mean, thank you so much. I'm happy to share any kind of insight or tips for anyone as far as my knowledge will take me.
We actually have a really good question here from Laura. Do
Yeah.
you always work in raster or do you also do vector lettering?
Yeah, I do create vector lettering as well. And it's really great that Adobe Fresco actually can work in sync with Adobe Illustrator, the desktop or for iPad. So a lot of the time, depending on, the final execution or whatever the client parameters happen to be, sometimes I do get a specific request in the brief to have the final lettering to be vector because they want the flexibility of scale or what have you. So yeah, definitely have done vector lettering before, and that's a whole other a whole other beast, but it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah, but you could follow a lot of the same process using the Fresco vector brushes, I imagine too, if you're just getting familiar with it, and maybe I know a lot of people can be intimidated by Illustrator, so you can use Fresco, the same technique here that Alanna's using with different brushes to get started.
No, yeah, it's really great because you have the I think, yeah, like what you said, it's very approachable in Fresco because it's like if you're thinking about it and you're just like plotting point by point, like if you think about it too much, you're just like, oh my gosh, that seems like really like hard of a concept or like a little
Yeah.
more challenging of a technique. But just being able to use a brush that draws like a regular pixel brush would, but except 100% in vector is like a huge advantage and a really great intro to vectorizing your work.
Yeah. So. And that way you can use it with all the other programs that plays really nicely with vectors, like Adobe, what is it? After Effects and all that kind of stuff too, which I know you could work with Photoshop and pixel based files in those programs too. But with the vector brushes, you get some more flexibility.
No, absolutely.
Why don't we do a little poll in the chat? If you prefer to work with pixel brushes, maybe let's say drop like a red heart. And if you prefer to work with the vector brushes, drop a blue heart, and we'll see if the red hearts or the blue hearts win.
I would be very interested to know.
I'm just curious.
Very interested to know. Because yeah, some people have a preference or like their work just ends up looking really like their style is really defined by one or the other.
Yeah.
So very curious to see.
I'm definitely team pixel brushes. I just never got away from it. I love the character that it brings. Just like that texture. I know there's people who are really amazing at adding texture with vector, working in vector. It's not me.
I'm not that person.
I'm not that person. And sometimes it's okay to admit your faults.
Exactly right. So it's like I know my limitations and that's okay.
Or better yet, accept my strengths, which are pixel brushes.
Exactly. I love that mindset shift. Amazing. Okay.
Oh, I love these how these flourishes have taken shape.
Oh yes. Okay. I think we're in a pretty good space now with this lettering layer. I feel good about it. So you can
I feel excellent about it. I love the R's. Like I feel like when I was a child, the cursive R was a really big problem for me, and this R is like everything that it needs to be.
That's so funny. Thank you. Yeah, and it's so fun because it's like that's the way I'm drawing this one, but there's so many different ways that you could draw them. They wouldn't give us that much flexibility back in like grade school when we were doing our cursive, but you had to follow the exact,
Yeah, we didn't have any creative freedom back then. This is Adobe Live. We have all the creative freedom. But I still love this art. It's fulfilling my second grade dreams.
Oh my God, amazing. So now we're going to move on to adding our like illustration elements and the stuff that we're gonna start making move. So
I'm so excited. Yeah, tell us about how you're thinking about these elements, like we were saying, when you're getting ready for an animated composition.
So yeah, so I have some like things in my mind like that I want to include, like balloons, candles, maybe like something that could like presumably in real life like move around, like maybe I can make balloons like bounce like they're floating a little bit like up and down, like give them a little bit of motion like that.
Yes.
candle light, for like a birthday cake or whatever, like, the flame flickers a little bit, like there's a little bit of movement there. And then also, if there's time, I mean, I really hope we can do it, but I can also animate the lettering itself. So we'll see what we have time for, but we'll jump in. I think I want the bottom of this little e-card to just be like the row of candles. So like maybe I'll start there and then we'll go.
All right. I can't wait to see this. I hope we have time to get to the animation of the lettering, because I'm just so curious to see how you would approach that. Because I feel like every time you show us your way of doing things, my mind is just like blown, and I want to experience it again. I want to be enlightened.
You're so funny.
Okay. We're using the handy measuring ruler coming into play.
So in the drawing aids right in the corner here, you've got access to the ruler, and then you have like the basic shape. So I'm just using the square and I'm just manipulating it to like make it like a little skinny little rectangle to like make the body of my candle. So I'm just like, it'll be consistent and I don't have to worry about it looking weird. So maybe I'll move this a little
There's
bit.
a time and place for weirdness, but it's not here right now.
Maybe not right this second. And maybe I'll just change that thickness just a little bit.
Ooh, that was so slick.
Yeah, like just so easy, right? You just trace around the border of the shape and you're golden.
I've never done that. I love that. I'm going to be doing that. Stat.
Amazing. So I'm thinking like the candle like has the little wick part, I guess, or whatever. So that's the wick part.
That's the wick.
And then because it's the flame that's going to be the moving element, I'm going to put that on a separate layer from the body of the candle.
This is what we're saying about thinking about an animation composition, that you can't just create everything flat. You have to separate out elements that you want to animate.
Yeah, it's like you could incorporate everything onto the same layer, but I feel like if I know,
difficult. Yeah,
that's like if I know exactly, I've got a pretty good idea of the plan. I'll stick to the plan for now. So just going to tap a little layer there, and then I'll just like draw a little flame looking thing.
Love it. Spectacular. Idea. Beautiful candle.
Maybe I'll change the scale a little bit, and then we'll see how this fills out the bottom of the card if I just like duplicate this. So
okay,
let me okay, how do I want to do this? I'm going to, because I want to keep these separate, so I guess I'll just start with
the base.
Yeah. And
so we're distributing these candles to create a beautiful little background for the e-card. I love it.
Yeah, and it's good because I have my I still have my grid on, so I can kind of see more or less where these candles are falling, so they're at the same level.
Yeah, using the grid.
Same thing. Yeah.
If you just started watching the stream, thanks for being here with us while Alanna works on this happy birthday e-card in celebration of her mom's birthday, but also just because birthdays are awesome and we're here creating this piece with her. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in today, who tuned in yesterday.
Day 2, better than day 1, undoubtedly. We're here for a good time, learning.
Yeah, right? It's just like, let's all hang out together. I'm just like, I work by myself so much, so I'm like, it's nice to feel like I'm working with a group and, have some creative buddies. It's like being on the
best group project as opposed to the worst group project.
It's true.
This is what it feels like.
Pull their weight.
Yeah, we're all pulling our weight here. You, me, the chat.
Yeah, right. Together, we're unstoppable.
Together, we're getting an A+.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Let me make sure. I'm actually going to take a moment to toggle this off because I need to color these, or I'm going to color these, and I want to make sure that this is actually a closed shape. So I'm actually just going to redraw that.
Okay.
Because in order to fill my shapes, they need to be 100% closed. So I want to make sure that I'm not missing any points.
That one just had a little
pixels.
bit of a gap
Yes,
at the bottom.
exactly. And this like just a little bit. So something like that should be okay. And I'm just going to do a little test and see if that actually seemed to be okay.
If everything's going according to plan. So you're using the bucket tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to fill it in. And actually I can fill in if I use, okay, so I just used a clipping mask to color that outline for me so that I don't have to spend time doing whatever. And it's nice because it's a non-committal, non-destructive way of coloring your elements. I love using clipping masks. I use them all day long. So
I use a lot of clipping masks as well. So it just for anyone tuning in, it's a separate layer of color that she's filled. And then because it's a clipping mask, it masks over the layer underneath. And that way she can add that orange flame color without permanently changing the color of the drawing of the flame, which I know seems minimal now, but when you're working on these projects, you want to make sure that everything is customizable and you're not, creating more work for yourself down the line.
It's very true. And like I think I've said it like a million times yesterday, but I change my mind a lot. In the middle of doing something, it's just like, oh, that doesn't seem to be working quite the way that I want it to anymore. So I'm gonna, just change it up. And you're well within your right to do that because you are the creator and you can do what you want.
Exactly. And by doing this, you save yourself future hassle. Future Alanna will be happy about this.
Indebted to future
Where are
Alanna.
you filling that? What layer is that?
Okay, so this was the actual that original flame
drawing.
Okay. That original flame drawing. Yeah. So I just filled it in. So even while I filled it in with black, because of that clipping mask on top, it also filled in orange like the rest of the outline. So
yeah, if anyone has any more questions about clipping masks, let us know in the chat. I use them all the time, so I feel like I have a good grasp on them, and I think Alanna's doing a great job explaining it to us. But if there's any remaining questions, let us know.
Oh yeah, please. Any questions at all? I love answering questions and hearing what the chat has to say because I love hearing from you guys.
I also think it's like you're so familiar with your process that to you, some things just feel like no-brainer moves until someone else is like, wait a minute. Just very like yesterday with the rulers.
Oh,
would have never thought of that. So
never would have thought. No, it's true. It's like, and that's a great part of like being able to share your process in a way like this. It's just like, get to let people into a little bit of how your brain works. And sometimes it's just really beneficial. Yeah, exactly. The little choices that you can't properly sum up in a social media post or a caption or something. So.
Okay. Now you're just cleaning up that flame, right? Getting it the right shape.
Yeah, just like refining the shape a little bit. And then I'm going to be a duplication wizard and duplicate this all the way down the line.
Working smart all the time.
Yeah, actually, let me throw my my lettering back up because I might need to adjust. Let me just undo. I'm going to duplicate this. Even when I make adjustments to my lettering or any elements on my page, I always like duplicate it just so I can keep the original idea preserved.
Keep the previous version,
yes,
just
exactly.
in case.
Just in case. Because I see like this is dipping a little bit too low, maybe into the candlelight. So I'm like, okay, a little bit higher should be okay.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay, so we're good. So we're going to keep duplicating because we love duplicating.
While Alanna's making those beautiful candles, I have a question to throw at you, Alanna, from Eli. Okay. How long have you been using Fresco?
Oh yeah, I've been using Fresco for almost a year now. It's become like my favorite program to use, honestly. And with the introduction of motion, it was just like, wow, there's even more ways to use this. So it's like it's really been able to become like my go-to place to create lettering and animation and all kinds of fun work. So yeah.
Look, I mean, I feel like you've learned a lot in that first in a year of using Fresco. So I think that should hopefully inspire people to give Fresco a shot and see how much you could learn just by spending some time with the app.
Yeah, right. It's like super approachable. And I think, I mean, it definitely didn't take me like a year to master it. I've been using it for a year, but like I felt comfortable after like a few weeks or something. Like it wasn't.
There you
So
go.
don't feel like the learning curve process takes a year. Like just try it out, see, start tinkering with stuff. And if you really get lost, I have an Adobe Fresco for Beginners video on my YouTube channel that you can watch.
Perfect. Yeah, if you love learning from Alanna, go check out her tutorials and you can learn more after our live stream. But in the meantime, if you have more questions for Alanna live, drop them in the chat. We will get to them while we watch her bring this lettering piece to life.
So I have just grouped these little flame elements.
Can you show us how you group them?
Yeah.
Because we actually have that question in the chat.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so let me deselect. So I like to use the touch shortcut. It's really handy. So I just hold this button down, which allows me to multi-select layers. So I'm just gonna click all my flame layers. Just click, click, click.
So you're holding down that button with your finger and then you're using the Apple Pencil to select multiple layers.
Exactly. Perfect. And then once I've got all my layers selected, just hit that little folder icon and group them up.
There you go. Not that much different from Photoshop, you guys, if you're familiar with that. So that's the benefit of popping over through the Adobe apps is if you're familiar, it should be pretty easy.
That's true. That's true. You never really feel like you're starting from scratch. And then because all of these things will be animated together, I want them to ultimately be on the same layer. So I'm just going to hit merge layers in group so that all of the flames are now on one single layer. Boom.
That's shocking to me after being so precious with having everything individually layered. That feels like a huge commitment.
I know, it's just like, oh my God.
but I'll live with it. So everything's on the same layer for the animation purposes. Okay.
And then just for general organization and my brain sanity, I'm gonna group and merge all of the little candlesticks. Yeah.
Perfect.
And trying to think, well, I'll just fill these in with black. And actually let me see how I can adjust yeah, that seems better. So I saw that my fill wasn't that great on my let me go undo. Okay, so I'm like filling in my candlesticks just like with black, just so it's a filled shape. So I had my color margin like kind of low. So like you see like the fill isn't really complete. It's leaving like a white outline, but I really want it to be very solid. So I can just adjust my color margin to be a bit higher.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where you just sort of tweak it as needed. Like maybe you don't need to go like to the max level, just like adjust it a little bit higher each time and see, and you'll get like a much nicer fill, like the higher your color margin is.
Oh, so, okay.
So
because you're using the pixel brushes, it doesn't feel like as crisp as say the vector side of things.
Exactly. Okay. So the color margin slider is like a really nice little fail safe for when you're filling things in. So I'm actually going to see if I can get grab those a little bit more. Okay, that was even better. Yeah. So I don't mind filling in that last bit, but
okay. So if you're if you're having a hard time filling in a shape, adjust the color margin so it's a little bit tighter when you fill it in. Exactly. That is a really good tip. I had not been doing that. I just fill everything.
Oh, okay.
Like
like
a barbarian.
You're so funny. No, it's great. It's just one of those more efficiency tips kind of thing going for it. Sure. So it's like, you guys are giving me so much help. Like, thank you.
Yeah, I think that blew some people's minds. I don't think people were aware of what that color margin was. So, I mean, I didn't. I just, I've played with it before, but I didn't really understand what I was doing. And now I have some clarity. That's amazing.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's so funny. Even when you're just experimenting on your own, it's just like, oh, it did something. I don't know. Yeah, right. Even if you can't exactly put it into words, it's like, well, it seemed to help. So I guess I'll just keep doing that. So that's great. Well, okay, fine. I'm being finicky again. I'm going to separate the wicks from the body of the candle because I don't want them to be the same color.
Okay. This is a style choice here.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I know that I'm going to actually just use a rectangle so it's cleaner at the top. But
okay, so rectangle selection.
Yeah, and I'm just going to tap the layer once and then hit cut selection.
Perfect.
So I just sort of chopped the little
chopped wicks. All the wicks off.
Yeah, just any kind of leaf behind, sort of get rid of them. And I'm thinking, and I'll just paste them back in. But
Perfect.
I'm thinking my mom really likes purple, so maybe I'll make the candles purple.
I agree with that choice. Make mom happy.
Yeah, right.
We have a little tip coming in from the chat from
I
Yitz
love it.
Wolf. Says you can adjust the color margin after you fill, and it will work on the last fill. So that's kind of interesting. That way we don't have to necessarily be painting and testing. That's cool.
That's very cool. Hey man, I love it.
We'll have to try it sometime.
Yeah, right. And this is one of the benefits of having people there to like work with you and not being alone.
Exactly. The benefits of a group project.
Yeah, right. Making it collaborative. That's amazing. I love that.
You're definitely carrying the weight of the team here on your back. If this was a group project, but you know, we'll allow it this time.
You're so funny. Okay. So
I like it.
Yeah, we've got like our little candle set. So it's like, okay, yay. So, okay, I'll add more elements, but first I will start dabbling a little bit with the motion for the candle flames, just so we can see how that looks. So,
ooh, I'm excited.
I'm going to turn my grid off because it is not serving me at the moment, which is totally
avoid distractions. Totally.
Exactly. And this, I need my visual to be clear, and that's totally cool. So I am just going to duplicate my layer that I'm going to apply animation to, just in case I want to make edits to it later. I have it there.
Okay. Security blanket. Okay.
Security blanket. Exactly. So to incorporate motion. So every layer that you apply motion to has its own separate timeline. So any other elements that I end up adding, I'll create a new layer and that will have its own animation timeline. So it really allows you to be really like diverse with the kinds of elements that you're making move, and you don't have to worry about like everything being having to be on the same layer and like, you know, going frame by frame, being like, okay, this part is moving over here and this part's moving over here. It's a lot more organized. So So I'm just going to tap. It's right above the drawing aids in the very bottom right-hand corner here.
Show us. Okay.
Boom. So, So right above where we found our ruler and everything, the motion menu pops up. So that's where that lives. Can you
do that one more time, just in case anyone missed it? If you're watching, maybe you have us in the background while you're working. You're going to want to come see this motion graphics menu. All right. So show us where it's at.
Yeah, so bottom right-hand corner, right above your drawing aids. Boom.
Perfect. So, right above that little square. Okay, cool.
Exactly. So as soon as you tap that, you see like the little timeline pops up. So this is like where you start, you know, doing stuff. So I mentioned that I had some elements and some things in my mind of like how I can make things move. So I'm just like, okay, like I want the flames to sort of like dance a little bit. So basically to do that, I'm going to create a frame by frame animation, and maybe I should just show you and then I'll sort of explain it as I go along.
Okay. Yes. Give it. Okay. So we're treating the flame as the first example for this motion element.
Okay. So I am going to hit this little plus sign icon, and that's going to add a new layer, or a new frame rather. And this frame is empty at the moment. I can see that I have like my first frame, all of those flames or whatever from their original position, because I have the onion skin setting on.
Okay.
So if you
is this reflected in the original layers of the non-animated, non-motion layers? Am I making sense?
It only applies to the layer that has motion on it.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking. Okay. So like, and you can tell which layers have motion applied to them because I have this little motion icon. I don't know if you can see like that layer that we have motion applied to has little motion icon. So if you ever question, it's like, did I do some animation stuff on here? If you see that little badge, that means yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was getting at. I was like, where is the motion happening? I thought it would add another layer, but you're saying it stays within that.
Exactly. It's contained within whatever layer you have selected. Exactly.
Perfect.
So if you don't have onion skin on, for this technique at least, you'll definitely probably want to have it on, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw over. Let me see actually what what kind of orange I had originally. So I can draw with the same color and add that in to my little set here. Oh, okay, I guess I had it. So
open that back up. Okay.
Yeah, just making sure I have that open again. Okie dokie. So I'm going to just draw over these little flames, but I'm not going to do it like exactly perfectly, because with each imperfection, actually, that's what'll give it that like sort of organic look, like it's moving.
The little jiggle, the classic little wiggle. Perfect.
Exactly. A little flame jiggle and wiggle. So we're just gonna.
Same brush, same color.
Yeah.
And redrawing the little flame so it gives it a wiggle. Oh, I love this. I love this kind of method of animation too. And it's so exciting to see it, like being able to execute it right on your iPad is so satisfying.
Yeah, so interesting, right? I'm just like, oh, you could like do it. And it's like, okay, I don't have to do, like, I'm not going to be duplicating like each piece. Again, like I said, with each imperfection, it actually gives it more character.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if you were to duplicate it, they would all look too uniform anyway.
Exactly.
So it would take away from the magic of it all.
Exactly. And then the animation probably won't end up looking, it probably won't maybe move that much.
Yeah.
It might end up looking a little stiff. So.
Yes, Paloma, we're making the fire dance. Exactly.
Yes, fire.
Yes, if you're just joining us now and you're watching this stream, thanks for joining us. First of all, be sure to join us over on Behance by going to behance.net/Adobe Live. That way you can join us here in the chat and we can keep watching Alanna as she works in Adobe Fresco. And now she's introducing us to the motion graphic side of Fresco, which is so interesting to me because I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. And now I'm like, this is the best way to go about it, just seeing somebody else get right into it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Like I said, I think it's a pretty approachable way, because when I think of animation and I think about stuff like that, I'm just like After Effects and like super complex something or other. And it might be a little intimidating as a concept. So I think the way they configured everything in Fresco makes it really like all skill levels friendly.
Yeah. And then that way, when you're working on your couch, on your iPad in Fresco, and you get that little urge to animate, you can still stay on your couch. You don't have to go open Photoshop. You can stay on your couch and animate, which is not the best form long-term for your physical health. But when you need to watch, what is it? Succession, like we were saying yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It'll do.
Yeah, right. But we love a little bit of couch convenience. That's fun.
For sure. Okay, so now is this the third layer? How did you move from the previous layer to this layer? Did you just hit
you can do it two ways. So you can like tap each frame like one by one to like see like the things that you've drawn so far. You can temporarily like turn off your onion skins if you want to like see what like each like set looks like and is starting to look like and stuff. And then also just like a simple scrubbing back and forth. So you could either use your finger and just like move them left to right, or use your Apple Pencil and move it left to right like that too.
Perfect. But to add another layer, you just hit that plus button?
Any more frames that you want to add, just keep hitting that plus button. And if for whatever reason it's like, oh, I made a mistake or I added too many frames, just tap that frame and you can have all those options. You can duplicate a frame, delete it.
There's so many options there. Duplicate, delete, paste, copy. I love that.
Yeah, so it's like pretty covered for all the possibilities of what could happen.
All right, so it's another flame layer. Yeah, I don't know about you, Alanna, but I try to avoid After Effects as much as I can. It's a wonderful program, but when I'm animating, when I'm working with my drawings, it feels very intimidating to hop over. And this is way more like, I'm excited to actually do this.
Yeah, right. I was just like, I need to watch an Adobe Live. I need to set a notification for whoever is the next
After Effects.
An After Effects Adobe Live, because I'm just like, I just need to watch someone do it, because it's too much for my brain to handle.
Yeah, I feel like watching somebody else do it makes you feel like, okay, I kind of like less scared of all the boxes and all the options and all the buttons.
No,
just by seeing somebody else's screen and like how they're not scared.
Exactly, right. And they're just like doing this, like, and then you do this.
Yeah,
and
you're
this,
like, oh, okay. Their bravery rubs off on you. I mean, that goes for any program. I feel the same here watching you do the motion graphics, because I've opened this menu before, but I haven't been sure what's going on. And now that you're breaking it down, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to add wiggles to anything.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I've that's one of, I guess maybe one of my, I mean, it's not really a New Year's resolution. I try to sort of keep this as just a general idea for my creativity. It's just like, don't be afraid to like try a new program. Like I jumped into Adobe Illustrator for iPad, like not that long ago, like maybe like a few months ago or something. And it's quickly become like one of my favorite things. And it's just like, now I never have to leave using my iPad for whatever I want to create. So it's just so fun.
Oh, this is a really good question from Eli. Ooh. Can you also insert frames in between?
Absolutely. Yes. So if you are hitting the plus sign, it will actually default to going right after the frame that you have selected. And also that's a great question, because it also shows, like, you can also, like, if I tap this, you can actually drag and reorder your frames as well. So you don't have to like keep them in whatever order they appear. You can drag them and swap them around. And yeah.
The flexibility just makes my heart warm. I'm like, I'm safe. Adobe thought of everything so that I can be safe here in my creation process.
Exactly. It's just like, okay, I can do it, and I can, exactly. I feel so much better now.
It's not do or die. Okay.
Okay. I guess, I mean, I've done 4 frames of this. So, I mean, we can play a little loop of this and see what it looks like.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Let's see what our first pass looks like.
Oh, I love it. It's so like adorable and like gives it that birthday vibe. And they're all a little bit different.
Yeah, just like you see, like I said, like just like the little imperfections in each sort of gives it a little bit more character and stuff like that. So, and I just did that in 4 frames on a loop. So it's like, you know, it doesn't take too long.
And I feel like I like how you made some a little bit bigger. Like I think one of those layers is bigger, so it really feels like the light is glowing, not just like a little wiggle. Oh
no, that's one of the things that I tried to keep in mind as well as I was creating. I was just like, oh right, like you have flexibility in like all scales, so like, you know, feel free to like make it a little bit bigger. Like the more different the better, really. So yeah, that's awesome. So I
love that.
Yeah, amazing. That was just like a little playback preview, and I just did that by hitting the play all button down there. So if for any reason you're like, oh, I don't like that, and I just like want to like make it move faster or slower, like you can adjust your frames per second, and that'll make it like go a lot faster. That's 10 frames per second. So just note that like if you have higher frames, it'll go faster, and if you have it lower, it'll go slower, a little bit more gentle. So
that's so cool. I love that flexibility, and that's all. I love how organized it is. It's all within just that layer, so it's like automatically grouped together.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And so it's just like, I have my animated flames. I don't have to worry about all the other stuff, like the candlestick, like being weird in one section or another. So it's just going to stay there and it's fine. So yeah. Woo, we have some animated candles.
That was amazing. I am so excited about this feature. I can't even believe it. Please comment like what about a little flame emoji? If you're going to use this feature, go ahead, throw down a flame emoji, because that was incredible. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to like add a little jiggle to my for my illustrations, but just artwork in general. I can't wait.
Yeah, right. Like like I said, I think it's pretty approachable, and like anyone can do this. Like you don't have to be a lettering artist. Like you could be like create anything, and just like even just adding a little bit of animation.
Fancy. Just be a little flair.
A little bit of a flair, exactly. So okay, I'm gonna move on, and maybe I'll like add some other elements so our card doesn't look so empty.
Let's do it.
So I'm thinking we need some balloons because birthday.
I'm down for balloons.
I love balloons.
I support this motion.
So, okay, let me just make sure. I'm being a little finicky with my layers here. All right.
We have so many flames in the chat. Everyone is so excited about these candles, these motion graphics.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pumped. I'm so glad you guys are here joining us, watching this magic happen.
Absolute. Yeah, it's like super great to have everyone tune in on either day, both days. Just love
Yes.
the people in the chat. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, this is day 2. If you want to see the like crazy tips Alanna gave us yesterday, day 1, when she was working on a Valentine's Day lettered piece, go ahead and check out the day 1. It was an amazing stream, and here we're learning a little bit more about motion, but you should also check that one out.
Yeah, it'll be great. I love that you can just like replay it. So it's just like, no
Why not?
worries. The FOMO won't be that bad. You won't be there live, but it's okay. You're there in spirit.
Yes, you know what? You're there in our hearts, and that's
right.
what matters most.
All the future viewers watching the replays.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay. Cute little balloon happening.
Oh yeah, just like ways to fill in the blank space for our composition. It's interesting too, also seeing between yesterday and today, because yesterday we were doing portrait style card and today's like landscape style. So just like different ways that you can see things.
While you work on that little balloon, we have a question here from Kieran asking, what format are you going to save the card as? I assume like export the card.
Oh yeah, so I'm probably going to save this as a GIF, I think, or however you pronounce it, GIF. But I have flexibility to save this as a GIF or as an MP4. So I'm thinking if I like want to embed it into like an email and send it to someone, a GIF that like is already moving might be fun. But sending it as an email attachment too, that someone can open as an MP4 is cool. So
that's awesome that there's those options, those export options, both GIF and MP4. So valuable these days.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love a good GIF, so I think I'll do that.
The power of Fresco on iPad is so cool.
Yeah, right.
I mean, before you had to like you had to open it on desktop to get any sort of GIF export. So
yeah, right.
It's amazing now. Like,
you can do so much just from your tablet. So it's like you don't have to worry so much about, jumping from machine to machine or whatever. So
I know, because sometimes that can just be like a bummer for your soul. You're just like, I don't want to sit at my desk right now or open up my laptop. I want to hang out with my iPad.
Exactly. Very true.
Okay. I like that little balloon. It's very cute.
Oh, yeah. I'm like pausing a little bit because I'm like, okay, I want this to have 2 components. I think I'm thinking about like the balloon, like bouncing like a little bit. Cause it's like, balloons, they move a little bit kind of, especially as they're losing air. But also I was thinking like the string of the balloon, or whatever, like maybe that could be like moving a little bit. So it's technically
catching the wind a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So I'm thinking, okay, I have 2 separate things happening to the same object. I've decided it can happen on the same layer. I'm going to put these together. Of course, I'm going to have a safe copy where they are separate, but to animate them, I'll just merge them together.
Because then you can animate just each one as you go together.
Exactly. And same sort of idea. And actually, I don't want 1 balloon. I want 2 balloons. For ultimate balloon balance. And
I love that you can just like duplicate, and now you've changed the composition, and it's incredible. There's no looking back.
I'm just going to redraw this string so it's like not exactly identical to the other balloon, just like a little bit different. Just to give it a little bit more of an organic feel, even though we did make it on the iPad. It's okay.
It's okay. You can still achieve that effect on the iPad. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be so crisp. You can get a handmade vibe from the iPad using Fresco.
Absolutely.
I support that motion.
100%. Okay, cool. So I've got 2 balloons and I want them to do the same thing. So I'm going to merge them down so they're on the same layer.
Okay.
And it's going to be groovy. Okay, so once again, duplicating. Okay, so now I'm going to apply motion to the balloon layer now.
The balloon layer with both balloons.
Okay. So I'm going to just pop open my motion menu again. And
brings me so much happiness to see that little menu pop up.
Yeah, right. It's just like, and like I said, like reiterating, like the balloons are a separate animation, so they have their own timeline. But as we go along, because we already animated our flames, as we go frame by frame, you'll probably actually see the candle flames moving because at the end it'll all export together. So those animations are still preserved from other layers. So
oh, cool.
yeah, keep an eye out for that. So you'll be able to get a sense of like as you're creating it, how everything looks and feels together. So
that's fun. That's good to know that everything starts to play together. That way you're not like you can see how it's all integrating as opposed to perfecting it and then going and playing it all and you're like, wait, that kind of looks, weird or something.
Exactly. So all right, so I've got my onion skin turned on because I want to be able to preview my balloons. And actually, actually, drawing that balloon in the beginning was kind of a pain. So I'm actually just going to duplicate this frame. And
nice.
I'm going to just erase the little string because I'm just going to redraw that because I want that to wiggle a little bit. So I'm just going to erase that.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad we're using this technique because I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, I was thinking because I'm just like, oh wait, like Alanna, you really don't have to redraw the balloon. Like, yes, we redrew the candle flames every time, but this motion is a lot more simple. It's literally just like a little up and down bob. So I really don't want like the formation of the balloon to be like
right. It's the same
inside.
Balloon.
Exactly.
It's the same balloon that we're moving around. So that's acceptable to remain the same, but then the string will have that little authentic catch of the wind.
So I'm just going to start by shifting this down just like a little bit.
I love the onion skins that it allows us to see like where that movement is going.
Exactly.
I feel like with the flame, it was a little bit harder to see. And this is a really good example of how having those onion skins turned on is beneficial.
No, absolutely. It's just like a good way to keep track of where everything has been and where we're going. So no losing track, no worries about losing track. So,
beautiful.
Little string there, little string there. And then going to, so I have, well, they're pretty much, I really just want it to go up a little bit and then down. So let's see. Well, and maybe we'll take some feedback from the chat. Yeah. Just like, I want to see how it looks if I just duplicate that first frame. If I just duplicate that first frame and just have a simple up and down bob and just like that one, I guess, variant iteration of the string and see how natural that looks, I guess.
Totally. This is a good way to speed up the animation process, just copy pasting those frames.
Absolutely. I'm just like duplicating wherever you can is always a great time saver. So before I hit play, I'm just going to scrub this really quickly.
Okay.
Let's see. You can kind of get a sense of that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hit play. Let's do it.
So adorable. I love seeing it come to life and the little candles dancing at the same time. I love it. It's so charming.
Yeah, right. It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty successful in terms of like, it's just like, it's not super crazy. It's just like, nice little friendly.
For sure. Yeah. I
think that was okay.
If we were going to have these balloons doing something crazy, we would be in After Effects. But this is amazing for what you can accomplish on your work using Adobe Fresco. This is awesome. Those tools are so like versatile.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think I'm going to throw in, see if we have a background color or something we could throw in. Maybe start making this look more final. Okay, yes. That's like very similar to my candle color. So let me see if I can get something a little bit lighter. Okay. So maybe a little bit too close to
the balloons.
I mean, let's see.
Ooh, I'm into that contrast. It's
I
like
like that too.
chartreuse. I mean, in my opinion. I like that contrast.
That's kind of cute.
It's cool. How do you usually go about selecting color palettes? Do you have like a routine that you go about for color palettes?
Yeah, I think every time it kind of varies. Sometimes the subject matter informs it a little bit. So most likely for like my Valentine's Day card, it'll probably end up incorporating a lot of reds and pinks and stuff like that. But for well, like I said, like this is a birthday card for my mom, so it's like, okay, her favorite colors might be incorporated into something like this. And then for anything else, I'm just like, I really have no idea where I'm going. I really like to use Adobe Color, honestly.
Yeah, that's a really fun tool too.
Yeah, and then you can just save your color library and open it in, you know, programs that you use like Fresco or Photoshop or whatever. So you can just keep using, you know, that color palette across your programs, and it's just easy to access.
For sure. I use color, and I also use capture like we were talking before. So if I see like, you know, like a vintage, for example, birthday card, and I think the colors are super cool, with capture, you can save the color palette and then use it next time you open up Fresco or something. That's one of my favorite ways. I feel like so creative. Like I have it together when I like have a color palette waiting for me. It's like so silly, but it feels fun when you like previous you thought about future you.
No, totally. I love that. All the sort of small decisions that, you know, help make your process a lot easier. But yeah, color is definitely like such an important component. I find myself getting so stuck all the time. So I'm just like, Adobe Color is like my saving grace. But you mentioning Capture doing the color themes as well is like, I totally forgot about that. I'm just like, duh, like you just snap a picture and it'll create a color palette for you. And I'm just like, what?
It so feels handy. It feels like Harry Potter or something. Like it feels like,
I know, right?
Like magical to be able to do that.
Exactly. I'm just like, what is this wizardry?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. I love that. Okay. So what else have we got going on here? So I was going to add another little like bit of illustration at the top that won't necessarily be animated, but it'll just make my heart happy, I think.
Let's see it.
I was gonna like add like little, like a little, like I don't even know what to call them, like the little birthday stream, like garland thing or something.
Yeah,
like
I think they're called streamers.
Yeah, something like that, like a little string of something. So I'm just gonna like add that. I think about when I'm thinking about, I'm just like, how would I decorate like a room for someone's birthday or something?
Yes.
We used to do that in college. We used to like cover whoever's birthday it was, like we would cover their room in like decorations and stuff. It'd be
just
super
go
cute.
Crazy with it. Ooh, yeah. I like that. I feel like it adds a lot of balance with the bottom candles.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm trying to like make it feel like a complete idea.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's lettering, but it's like the illustration, just like thinking about it as a whole. So I actually am just going to scale down my lettering a little bit more because it might end up maybe interfering a little bit, but we'll see. You can always adjust. And then I'm just gonna like make little triangles using the drawing aid again because it's super easy. Like,
are we on a new layer? Yeah, we're on a new layer. Cool.
Starting a new layer because I'm just like, okay, I drew like the little string portion on a separate layer, and then I'm just like gonna add these little triangles.
Oh, a banner. Got it.
Like a little
streamer, a banner.
You're so right. I'm just like, why can I think of the word? I'm just like, it's like a little banner.
Yeah,
like a little birthday banner. Exactly.
I was like, is this a birthday hat? Now it's all coming together in my mind.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh gosh, I lost all my words, but
because you're focused on the creation. We're thinking visually.
Oh, yeah, right. So many steps ahead in my mind.
Yes. If you're just tuning in right now, Alanna is working on a happy birthday e-card. We've added some motion graphic elements to it, all using Adobe Fresco. So welcome to the live stream. Stick around. Join us over at behance.net/Adobe Live so you can talk to us. We're keeping up with the chat. We're all hanging out, joining Alanna on her e-card journey. So come hang out. Join us.
Join us.
And welcome.
Hang out with us. Yes. Welcome to it. Whoever's might be joining just now, and join us in the chat.
I love this banner. I love the duplication tool is so simple, but it does make life so much faster. Like
I love it.
It's whizzing by making this.
It's like my favorite thing. I'm just like, no need to struggle.
No
So
struggling with these little
easy.
triangles.
Nope, nope. Okay, this one looks a little awkward, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Maybe I'll find a way to adjust it later, but
Yeah, and the triangles were made with those shape tools.
yeah,
So cool.
exactly. Super, super easy.
Clutch.
Super fast.
I feel like we're all gonna have to sing happy birthday at the end.
Oh, you're so funny.
I feel like that has to happen. I'll spare you guys. I sing horribly. Even though I have this mic, I sing horribly.
You're so funny. No, now I'm thinking of, I mean, I like birthdays and like celebrating people, but like, can we get like a birthday cake poll going, like a flavor? Because like I'm chocolate cake all the way. Like you can't tell me anything else.
Tell us your favorite birthday cake flavor in the chat. Like, I feel, I'm kind of boring, but I like a fruity cake. Like I want like vanilla with like a fruit like in the middle.
See, like pineapple, I don't think strawberry. That's boring because like I think the fruit makes it not boring. If it was just vanilla, like that's a little boring. But like cake is cake, so like you put cake in front of me, I'm gonna eat it. So, like it's fine.
I literally had a strawberry cupcake last night, and
oh my god,
I intend to have another one today.
Oh, I mean,
if all goes well, if the stars align for my day.
Yeah, right. Reward yourself with a little Tuesday cupcake. I love that.
Yes. Okay, this is amazing. I love the way this banner is bringing the birthday vibes together here.
Birthday vibes.
We have some votes for red velvet.
Oh, that's a good one too.
It's a controversial cake. It is suddenly a very controversial cake, the red velvet, but
it's true.
I support it. I'll eat it. It's fun.
I love red velvet cake. That's no brainer for me. I love that.
And we have a white chocolate truffle cake. Ooh, all these cakes are making me hungry.
Fancy.
Yes.
White chocolate truffle. Okay.
Cheesecake. Cheesecake's my favorite kind of cake. Oh yeah, I guess on your birthday you can ask for any kind of cake. That's okay, what just happened?
So I'm like trying to see like what kind of like
you're working with the clipping mask.
Just doing a clipping mask because I'm just like testing out colors for the lettering, not really trying to go too far into one direction or the other. Just like do a little tapping around and seeing. And actually, am I getting ahead of myself? Maybe a little bit. Because I was like, okay, I could apply the color now, or we could start thinking about making the lettering move. Actually,
ooh, I mean, both processes are really interesting to me. I would love to see how you color the letters to make it, to like bring it to life. But then the motion, I'm really interested too. So really, it's your call on which way to go. I think both are going to be insanely interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm thinking because there's so many different ways. I don't know if anyone in the chat or anyone follows like motion graphic artists or like people who are really known for like letters with movement, but there's like so many fun effects that you can do. Like you do like write on text effects where it looks like the words are being written out. You could like change the scale and make them look like they're growing or appearing. So I don't know. We'll test some things out and see.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that write-on technique. That feels like intimidating to me, but also like if I can do that in Fresco, game changer, total game changer.
Okay, let's see. Okay, well, happy would be easiest to do something like that for, or like the fastest to do it for.
Right. Well, we have like about like a minute before we have to move into our artist spotlight.
Ooh, okay.
And which is a really exciting segment. So maybe we can get into that once we, finish highlighting the amazing artists that we have this time around.
I agree. Perfect.
I agree, right? Yeah, but I really love this color palette that you have going on. I'm really amped for it. Awesome. I can't wait to see what we do next.
Awesome. I'm super pumped.
Let's head into our artist spotlight. Let's talk about this stream's artist.
Amazing.
All right, let me see. Yes. I'm going to share my screen so everybody could see Stacey's work.
Awesome.
Moving some things around. Okay. Oops. Let me not do that. Okay. I think I got it, everyone. And Zoom. It's coming. Okay. It's coming, everyone. All right. There we go.
No
My
worries.
screen's up. My screen's up. All right. All right. So it's time for our artist spotlight. Today we are showcasing Stacey Johnson Harden. Stacey is an amazing lettering artist, teacher, and freelancer based in Bear, Delaware. I'm so excited to be sharing Stacey's work with you today because I know everyone in this stream is going to be super inspired by after seeing her masterful lettering work. I mean, Alanna, you nominated Stacey for this artist spotlight, and her work is incredible.
Oh my gosh, I love Stacey's work so much. She is so talented, so versatile in the things that she does. Like, I can't wait to get into some of these projects.
Yes, this one is the one that caught my eye at first, was this Peace on Earth one.
Okay, let's look at that one.
Let me zoom out a little here so everyone can see it together. There we go.
Oh my
Peace on
gosh.
Earth, Goodwill Toward Men. It's so beautiful. And I feel like I can't even, like, she has the treatment for 3 different types of treatment, which I think is such a cool way to show off your work on Behance. Like, this one is so moody, then this one is like playful, and then this one is like kind of that traditional. You can really like see all the elements that she implemented. And I just think it's so cool that she still started with a pencil sketch like we were talking about earlier, Alanna.
No, absolutely. This is what I was talking about exactly. I'm just like, the mastery with just a pencil and sketch paper is like insane. And then she takes you through her process of like how she puts it all together. Like, you could really learn a lot from, you know, watching other people's Behance projects as well. I love that she's like sharing.
It's so
that with
cool.
us.
I love seeing like the guides and how she really just took this paper sketch and made it digital so seamlessly and then just brings it to life. It's
Absolutely.
so cool. The different heights and the different weights of each word to really emphasize like the message. So cool.
Yes, and like exactly the use of like the different kinds of scale and hierarchy in this piece. It's like, oh, you might be intimidated by using like a longer phrase, but like Stacey like tackles it so well, and it's
exactly.
So balanced.
It's so balanced, and it still has kind of like a sense of movement with these flourishes, the way that they're like playing with each other. I thought that was really fascinating. Like, how they intertwine with the other letters and even other words was just I feel like in my mind can't comprehend it, but it's done so beautifully.
No, it's true. It's true.
All right, let's check out another piece. How about this one? I thought it felt a little bit more modern.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's see.
There we go. And this one was created with Illustrator on iPad, which I thought was like so cool, and it looks so sleek.
Yeah, right. And how interesting that she was able to do that all on Illustrator for iPad. It's just like, it packs a lot of power just from your iPad. So it's just like, don't worry about like losing any kind of complexity. Like, you can push it as far as you want and still get a really great result. This is beautiful.
And she has the different treatments here. And I thought this was so cool. I mean,
that's cool.
It's so cool that you can, I'm zooming in here so everyone in the chat can see, but you can see like the way the flourishes and loops from the letters play with the actual plant in this photo. And it adds such a depth to it that I feel like, you know, we didn't really capture that as much here, but then once we brought it into this type of treatment, it's like, it feels like a whole other piece. And I just think that's like so impressive.
No, that's beautiful. I think that's really cool how she showed it in different colors, just like solid color backgrounds. And then like you said, with the photo, it's just like, there are so many different ways that you can use lettering and like apply it to different kinds of work. So I think that one with the lettering over the photo would make like a really cool, like poster or something. Like, if you like plants and like that natural look, but then you also really like, you know, the feeling of hand lettering. I think those really blend well together.
It's like 2 different organic things, but also so sleek and modern. It's, the contrast is amazing. And the other thing I really loved about this piece, and I feel like you can see it more here, is the different like highlights and shadows that she's put on the actual letters. And then also that back layer right here that we're seeing. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but the back layer on all the layers that's black, it's like not a perfect stroke. And that makes it feel a little bit more organic as opposed to like super tight and planned out. It gives it like an element of playfulness that I think is just so pretty.
No, definitely. It definitely has like a brushed on feel. That's why when you said that she made an Illustrator, I'm just like, wow, she was able to like capture so much like feeling and like depth and like
And
that kind of
movement.
exactly that movement and complexity all in vector. I'm like, go Stacey, that's dope.
This could be tiny or it could be on a billboard and it's gonna look amazing. And that's like the beauty of it. And she made it all on iPad. So it just makes you think like the possibilities on iPad are endless with Adobe. It's so cool.
No, absolutely. 100%.
All right, let's check out another one here. What was it? This one's really cool.
What's this?
I love this piece because of not only the message, right? The message is incredible, but also she uses so many different like serif, sans serif, script. Then she has the illustrated elements and it's just all working together. I feel like if I attempted this, I would be like constantly worried about if it's clashing, and she just like effortlessly made it harmonize, and that's just so impressive. I want to play you guys the clip here while we keep talking about it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And I love the message sort of lends itself also to the way that she executed it. Like it's like a chalk lettering style.
Yes.
So it's kind of like you think about like you're in a shop or something, you see like the chalkboard menus. It kind of lends itself to the theme of the message as well. So I love that.
Yeah. That adds like another element to the piece to bring the concept together, is that chalkboard style drawing. It's so cool. And I don't know if you guys caught that, but she like drew these elements like no big deal.
Oh yeah, just
casual cheese board, casual
like,
casual all of this, no big deal, little shading, moving on. It's impeccable.
She's such a talented artist. Like she's great at lettering, but she does like pretty much every kind of art really well. So.
Yeah, I feel like
she's so like open with her process and like sharing everything on her site. So really good.
that's one of the reasons I really wanted to showcase this piece, was just because it was so like clear all of the talent that comes together to create one piece. And it's just like harmonizes, no big deal, casual. It feels so effortless in this piece, and I just love that.
No, absolutely. This is all one person.
It's all, yeah, exactly. It's all one person. The last one that I think is amazing is this overcoming obstacles one. It seems very simple, right? Very like compared to the one that we just saw, but I think it's so elegant. Like the way this is written, the script, it's just so elegant. And she actually animated this piece using Adobe Premiere Pro. So I'm like, okay, a way to take something simple and add some depth to it. Like, let's check it out.
See.
Saw how buttery that was, everyone?
Look at that. I mean, come on. Oh,
it's beautiful. It's really cool. So I just had to show you guys that. And then I think this one is on a background. So it just looks so beautiful. It's simple. It's elegant. It's like super tidy. I feel like even though it's giving me, it's like obviously handmade, it's still so tidy and neat. And I just think like the versatility that she has when creating this is just so impressive.
No, 100%. Geez, wow. I mean, so much talent. The range is impeccable. I mean, the hand lettering, the illustration, the animation, like what doesn't she do?
Yeah, the range, Stacey's range is incredible. And she has an MFA too. She has her BFA and an MFA in so she's really studied her craft, and this is just incredible. And on top of that, she actually has I noticed she has a blog where she shares more information about lettering and everything she does. So if you want to get to know more of Stacey's work, because she's clearly so talented, go ahead and check out her blog, because you'll learn so much more from her. And last but not least, please don't forget to submit your recommendations for creatives to highlight on our artist spotlight. All you have to do is hit the tab above the chat to submit your recommendation. Our artist spotlight is just a really great way to highlight amazing artists like Stacey from our Behance community. So we love to get new names to spotlight. Go ahead and drop some names in. But that's all I have for Stacey. I mean, she's clearly incredible.
Oh yeah, everyone go follow Stacey on Behance and all of her social media. You'll learn a lot. It's great.
For sure. All right, Alanna, let's get back to work on your piece, which I'm so excited about. I need to get into, I feel like this made me want a little bit more motion. I'm craving the motion. So
Oh,
let's
okay,
let's
cool.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let's
No pressure.
No, it's fine. I mean, just that marvelous display. Amazing. Okay, let me go. Okay.
We're going to move on over back to Alanna. Okay.
All right. I'm ready if you guys are ready.
Perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we have added our little banner. We're great. We're doing fine. So we're finishing up a little bit, figuring out some ideas for our letters. Right. So let's see.
There's so many ways to go right now.
Yeah. So I have my lettering. I have them grouped together. Okay. So let me actually make, because when I was drawing the word birthday, I had separated all the pieces so severely because I'm just like, I want to make sure each element.
Right, because you want to be able to customize all of it.
Exactly. So just in case I wanted to make some spacing adjustments, but I'm pretty okay with the way stuff looks now. So I'm just making sure that the word happy and the word birthday are separated. I'm just going to merge those layers up. So we're in a good spot.
Hey, Manny, I'm so glad that you're back here for day 2, joining the party. Welcome. We're about to start animating some more elements. So it's an exciting time.
An exciting time. Thank you for joining in again, Manny. Okay, so I'm thinking, let's go for it. Let's try a little bit of a write-on text effect for birthday for the script. So, all right, cool. So I'm just going to always self-preservation, duplicate the layer. It's fine.
Duplicate the layer and hide it and make sure it's safe somewhere while we mess with the animation. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
100%. Okay, cool. So going to start applying motion to this. So there are probably 1,000,005 ways to do this, but I know the way that I have personally done and that I seem to enjoy. So I'm basically thinking the basic concept of this is at the end, we want the whole word birthday to show, and that'll be our end frame because that's like the last thing you'll see and it'll be written out completely. So I'm going to hit plus to start with an empty frame.
Okay.
And I'm going to move this into the first frame position because remember I said like you can just like drag and drop them so that they're in the right order. So like think about like, okay, the card is opening or whatever, and the first frame is blank. So I'm just going to tap this. I'm going to duplicate it.
Okay.
And then let me make sure my little onion skin is on.
Yeah, that's a good reminder to double check that the onion skin is on when you're working inside the motion graphics settings.
Yes, because I'm just like, okay, I turned it off before, but I need to have it back on now. So I'm just going to, this is going to be a lot of freehand lasso tool, big selections and like erasing and stuff. So I'm thinking, so I'm starting from the B. So like that first stroke would come from over there.
Side. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to cut around everything that I don't want to have appeared yet. So I have like a lot of that word selected there, and like the little context menu underneath, you see like transform, erase, mask, deselect. So I'm just going to hit erase. And then all of that is gone.
Because that's where you as the artist knows that the stroke is coming in from that direction. So that's why you decided to put it there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So then I have my end frame with the whole word. So I'm just going to keep duplicating, and then I'm going to make another selection. So I started with like a little bit of like that little entry stroke nib, there. Yeah. So then I'm just going to take a little bit further. More.
There we go. So we're working forward, but we're working backward from the entire word.
A little bit, yeah. So
just that way it stays consistent as you change it.
Exactly. So I'll take a little bit more.
So this technique requires less redrawing and more just calculated kind of revealing.
Exactly. So just like thinking about, just writing the
what
letter
would happen
out.
Next. Yeah,
exactly. Just sort of having a little preview for yourself. So
Okay, I'm interested what's going to happen now because I feel like we literally come to a crossroad in the strokes.
Yeah, right. So now we're going to have to like do a little bit of creative stuff where you might actually have to like do a little bit of like erasing where the overlaps don't quite work. So I could do like a little.
Yeah, that makes sense though, because that's that first part of the bee that you want to showcase.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions about this process, this animation process in Adobe Fresco, please go ahead and drop it in the chat while we work on this diligently.
Yeah.
And Alanna will answer.
Yeah, let me know. Super pumped to be sharing this with you guys and super happy that you guys have tuned in. So
yes, it's so scary to see you like delete such huge chunks of the word.
I know.
Like it feels like a little bit alarming each time, but I know it's fine. Plus so we have the safe layer, you know?
Yeah, right. We have the safe layer. That's so funny that you say it was just like, does anyone hear the Succession music or is it just me?
Yeah. I feel that for sure. It's
so
just
funny.
Like a little bit intense to see that.
Yeah, right. Okay, let me see. I'm going to take a little bit of that from the bottom there.
Right.
And then take this guy from here because he's not appeared yet. I kind of think of it like, well, I don't know if anyone out there in the chat or if you, Fabiola, was a musical theater kid, but it's like waiting for your cue.
Not.
Okay.
Unfortunately not. Didn't happen for me, but
that's totally fine.
I get what you mean though. You're waiting for the next kind of pass, right?
Exactly. It's just like, okay, who has appeared and who has not. So it's like who's supposed to be on stage and who's not supposed to be on
stage.
Oh goodness, that's funny.
Okay, and then here you're just erasing because it's like such a specific little part that you want to get rid of.
Yeah, and it's like interesting because it's sort of it depends on the creator too, because it's like, okay, the more kind of careful erasing and segments that you do, maybe the more like stroke by stroke it'll look. If you take like larger pieces, it'll like give it a slightly different look. So just do it like, you know, try it a few different ways and see which way you end up liking the best. You might find yourself gravitating towards one way or the other. But
that is
right.
Nice.
We get
that is really satisfying.
Yeah, you gave us kind of see like how it goes. Yeah,
a little preview, a little sense of how this works out.
A little.
We have a couple. We have a question here. So, how often do you look at references for animation, especially when animating type? This is a question from Eli.
Oh, Eli, that's a great question. You know, honestly, for things like this, where it's like the concept is kind of general, where it's just like, I just want it to look like it's written. I pretty much have my process for this. So for this, I don't really like use a reference. But if it were to be something like really complex, like this is not just like flat lettering, like maybe it has like 3-dimensional elements and like other sort of factors. I think depending on how far I go outside of my own comfort zone and skill set, I might actually have to like study something or like watch a tutorial of someone like doing something a little bit more complex. But for something like that I think is kind of simple like this, I don't find myself really using reference. I just sort of go with it and then tweak and fine tune as I go along afterwards.
Yeah, because you know what your vision is, so you can kind of tweak it as you go along.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you kind of go along with it and then see where you end up, which is also kind of the fun part of animating, because
I know I feel like with animation, any little thing that you do that makes it come to life, you're like, love it. This is great, amazing. And it doesn't even have to be that dramatic. Like, you know, like the flame twitching, that wasn't super complex, but it still added so much liveliness to the piece.
No, absolutely. And I think it's cool too, because it sort of gives you an idea of like other ways that your work can take shape. I guess it's like some people you may not have even like considered like, oh, my work might look really cool animated, or maybe you have a style that might lend itself really well to animated mediums. So that's like the joy of experimenting and trying new things. So
I fully agree. Ooh, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, this will be interesting. This is also where like a knowledge of calligraphy helps, because it's just like
exactly
I'm remembering the stroke pass. It's like, okay, up here, and then I made a loop
here. So that's what I was like alluding to earlier, was like by having that experience with a traditional brush pen, you kind of have a background that helps influence all this like digital style that you've created.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be able to use, various points of your knowledge to help you along the way. So all of it is valuable. It's great.
Just a little heads up, Alanna, we have about 5 minutes left on the stream to finish up this project. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to show us. Let us know. We're here on this ride with you, Alanna.
Yeah, totally.
5 minutes.
Oh, I think I actually cut too much. But yeah, I mean, if anyone has like any like questions or anything else, like to ask me,
last
like
minute
totally
questions, let us know.
Because I'm super, as you can see, I'm super into this. But I mean, I definitely won't be able to finish this part, but let's see.
But this is amazing
so far. I mean, you can like kind of see it a little bit going together.
I can see it. I feel like, you're playing it slow. So because otherwise it would go by so fast.
Yeah, right. A little bit faster. Yeah, that's the cool thing too, because you can actually set every motion layer you can set to a separate speed. So if you want the lettering to write out faster than the balloons are moving, for example, or the candle flame is moving, you can set your frames per second really precisely to each layer. So you don't have to worry about like,
super cool. It's not like the overall piece frame, like speed. That's amazing because those balloons would look insane at the rate of the candles.
Yeah, right. It'd be like, whoa, too fast.
It would be like, we'd all be going nuts. We have one question here while you work on that from Manny asking who your top 3 favorite lettering artists are.
Oh my goodness, that's like such a hard question.
That's intense.
Oh my God, so intense.
All right, just one.
It's like I'm super inspired by all lettering artists who are putting their work out there and sharing what they know. Like you never know what someone else might not know. It might be super basic to you or something you do all the time, but just tell people like a little bit of what's going on in the background. It really helps people a lot with their process. So I'm super inspired by anyone who's
putting
open to sharing. Yeah, open to sharing their work at all, because trust me, it took me forever to like muster up the courage to be like, this is what I do lettering.
Yeah, that's true. That is a very courageous act when you're first starting out, sharing your work and putting yourself out there.
No, absolutely. So
thanks for the question, Manny. Good question.
Yeah, that was a great question, Manny. Thank you so much. I might have time for one more trick.
one more trick, because we have to start wrapping up for the day here.
Okay, so one more trick. I'm thinking it's like super simple and basic, so don't expect to be like super wowed or anything.
I will be wowed.
You're so funny. So starting with an empty frame, and then I was thinking like Happy could like appear to be growing from the middle. So if I just take the transform tool and I like have it like super squished. Ooh. So like in the middle here. Mm-hmm. And then also like, again, using my end frame as reference. So I can like, okay, so that like middle frame is like kind of where it's like, it's a little, gets a little bit bigger there, a little bit bigger there. Maybe I'll add one
I see
more.
Where you're going with this.
Yeah, right. Where it's like not, so it's like growing. It's like elongated a little bit. So
growing from the middle part. Okay.
Yeah, so like a little bit.
That's an amazing little last tip. Let's see that play real quick. That's so cool. That's an amazing last little party trick from Alanna. Alanna, can you give us a really quick recap of what we learned these last 2 days during your Adobe stream?
Oh yeah, totally. So yesterday we saw the creation of a still 4-print Valentine's Day greeting card, standard 5x7. So we saw like the lettering process in that, thumbnailing to mostly final. Check me on social media for the final card. So that was day 1. And then today we did an e-card kind of idea. So incorporating what we saw on day 1 with the lettering and stuff, and also thinking about how we can use motion features in Fresco to like add a little bit of fun animation to our work. So
I learned so much about motion in Fresco, and I am so excited about everything that the iPad can do for us. It's so cool. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. And I hope everyone in the chat that joined us this whole time learned so much. I know you guys did. We heard you while we were talking and working, and I'm just so excited for everyone to get started with Fresco or learn more, dig deeper into Fresco. Alanna, thank you so much for showing us all of this. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining Alanna and I today. Stick around for the newest set of Illustrator Daily Creative Challenges with Julia Vaca, followed by Bringing Your Illustrations to Life with Michael Fugoso. You won't want to miss part 2 as he takes a deep dive into Aero, showing off more interactivity and animation features. Bye, everyone. Until next time here on Adobe Live, we'll see you. Make sure to follow Alanna.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.